Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Mariam Longe, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. I'm just enjoying the weather. I mean,
yeah.
like months of just excruciating
sun.
But these past few days, especially yesterday, because like I do not appreciate the AC at all. That unnatural cold air, it just dries you up. But when I'm able to open the windows and just allow it the fresh air, I had a beautiful night rest. So yeah,
that's nice. I love your hair. It looks so good on you.
Thanking God for nature.
Yeah.
This is why you need to protect your environment so that you can sleep better at night.
Yeah. Thank you. Good. How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good.
Your hair is gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah, hair by BC. Love it. And styled by Eniola. She did a very good job. It was raining, but I'm grateful to God for progress so far. I was happy to see the work done.
And your weight loss, you've been going to the gym back to back. You're looking very good.
I'm trying.
Pounding the devil.
I'm trying. There's work to be done, and I let myself go when I traveled and was eating rishi, I think. So now we're trying to get back into being healthy.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Good.
Amazing.
Good.
Amazing.
How are you doing, Obiajudu?
I'm doing
I've been loving
great.
this hair is like no.
It's popping, Abby.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm doing well. I've been shop hunting, so I want to get a physical shop, so that my customers can come in, walk in, buy, see their stuff, touch it, buy it, so we not have issues with sizes and So I've been going to different places. There's an area I saw, but the environment is not so tush. I was considering you people that are my customers. Before you come there and say, why are you in this local place? It would have just been cheaper for me to use that place, but I still have to consider the kind of clients that I have. So today and after the show, I'm heading out again to go see somewhere else, and I hope that I get, because I don't retire. I won't even lie.
Nice. I mean, I'm happy about that. I'm doing well, thank you. I had a photo shoot yesterday. They're stuck on, and they're coming out already. But I had a nice photo shoot. I mean, in the house, somebody came to the house taking pictures.
You have a preparation for your.
No,
you have now. That one will be
that was for clients actually. It was for Unicaf.
But it's good. I said, this is your year of photo shoot.
Yeah, right?
You're always dodgy photo shoots, and then...
So the client had me take that those green ones was for a client. It was specific for a client. Okay. And then I did this one towards my book launch, because I'm doing a bit of publicity towards my book launch. So I'm trying to do shoots towards it as I'm talking about it. And I also launched my weekly 10
I'm enjoying
suggestions on 10 nuggets on what I've learned in 10 years, 10 tips what I've learned in 10 years. And then that will be accompanied by photo shoots going forward. I'm just doing the best I can. I'm building the Morayo Afolabi Brown, the best I can. It's been 10 years. It's about time the brand
girl.
The brand must be used properly.
Well done.
We get there. Okay, let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Why Buhari didn't intervene in Adamawa poll crisis by government. Okay, it's 1.5 trillion naira for roads. Policemen to undergo hepatitis B tests. DMO Nigeria not defaulting on China debt repayments. Acting LP chair rejects suspension by party INEC. Nwayawu is Ohanese's president. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let's start with the DMOs. That's the Debt Management Office. Said yesterday that there is no iota of truth in a report that Nigeria was defaulting in the repayment of the loans it took from China. So reacting to the story captioned, Nigeria defaulting in Chinese loan repayments, the office said Nigeria has not breached the agreement it has with its signed creditor. And Nigeria is fully committed to honoring its debt obligations and has not defaulted on any of these debt service obligations. So they were rebuting the fact that they said Nigeria had incurred a penalty of 41.31 billion for defaulting on the Chinese loan, and that they used to reactivate the country's rail lines. Right. And the DMO denied it, said there's nothing like that.
There's a lot of propaganda going on.
Yes, going on, yeah. They said, however, they didn't now tell us how much they are owing. Yeah. Yes, the Chinese government, but since they said they are not owing them.
All right. Let me take the Benani story. So the federal government was asked yesterday, actually the Minister of Information and Culture was asked yesterday why the president did not get involved in the whole Fintini Benani story that happened in Adamawa State. And he said that the president doesn't get involved in micromanaging. That was INEC's job, and the president cannot intervene in this. However, the president-elect, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has also congratulated in his congratulatory message to the winners of all the various houses and the president-elect from the side. So just quote what the minister said. He said the chairman of INEC is in charge of all employees and is handling it. So what do you want the government to do? Or whether the president is disappointed with the rec. The Honorable Minister said that the president does not micromanage any institution. So we'll see how this rec could therefore be prosecuted for what he did.
Yes, so the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Ali, has approved a 3-day hepatitis B test for policemen. The screening is being done in partnership with the Daniel Onoja Foundation. And the IGP says that the development is in line with his administration's policy on health and wellness amongst, men of the police, officers and men of the police force. Right. He says that this is targeted at creating awareness on hepatitis B virus, which infects more than 300 people worldwide and is the main cause of liver disease and liver cancer, and so has admonished officers and men of the force to take advantage of this exercise. Hepatitis B, as we know, I think it's sexually transmitted, and I know it's quite a serious. A lot of people talk about HIV, but don't really have information on hepatitis B. So it's good to see our police force doing something about that and protecting our officers.
All right, so I want to take the story about a very sad story. The number of killings that have taken place in Kaduna State. There was a report from the Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arunwa, in Kaduna. He was presenting that report to the Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and he detailed from last year to this year the number of people that have been killed through banditry, terrorism, and communal clashes to be 1,266. Last year alone, 1,052 people were killed. And in this year, between January and March, 214 persons have been killed as well. They spoke about how 12 females and 10 minors were raped by terrorists and bandits. He also mentioned how 717 bandits were neutralized, spoke about the fact that the crisis that has been, the insecurity challenges that has been going on, based on the effects of the troops, they were able to kill 628
insurgents?
Terrorist band. We don't even know which name. Terrorist bandits were also killed and neutralized. The governor expressed his worry that is so sad. He said his heart goes out to all families that have lost someone, and that they would be. He said they put each local government as well, and he spoke about the statistics being really worrisome, and but there's been improvement year on year in the number of deaths. So even though this seems like a shocking number that 1,052 people died last year, it's still less than the year before. So there's been improvement, but we continue to pray for peace within Kaduna State.
Moving on now to the Punch. Insecurity, local rice price jumped by 200%. Picture story: Lagos mob burns BRT bus actually. as driver dies in crash. Ogun father chains starves 2 children to death. Substandard materials quacks cause Banana Island building collapse, says report. El Rufai raises the alarm over insecurity ahead May 29th. Adamapo, police warned against cover-up. FAC allocation drops as federal government states share 715 billion naira. And Buhari returns, avoids Sudan airspace. Okay.
Let me take the picture story.
Go ahead.
Here we go again with the way we handle things. So they say an unidentified commercial bus driver died yesterday in an accident. The bus driver, this particular commercial bus and BRT bus collided. They said this happened along the Owoshoke Expressway. The commercial bus was coming from Lagos Island, heading to Ojoduberga when this accident occurred. They said the commercial bus was at top speed when it lost control along the Ifako Bridge and collided with the BRT. And when this happened, the people around, urchins, what do you call them, hoodlums, whatever, decided that the best way to handle this was to set the BRT bus ablaze.
It belongs to all of us.
I don't understand. About 7 people were injured in that crash. And then, anyway, government is saying, stop behaving like that. That is not how to handle this sort of situation. Allow the law to take control of the situation. I don't even know who taught anybody that you just go, you see an accident scene, and the first thing you do is either you kill people or you burn property. Yeah. It just makes no sense.
It goes back to the reorientation we need. You know, when we talk about people, we also have to take ownership. And that goes back to local government, community leaders, just all leaders across all levels. We begin to talk to young people and know how to deal with issues. We can't keep burning out infrastructure that belongs to all of us. It doesn't make any sense.
Another human interest story. Are we going to break?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so a 45-year-old man, Benga Ogun Fadike, has been arrested for allegedly chaining, starving, and locking his 2 children in solitary confinement, which led to their death. Now, the suspect was arrested on Tuesday in Ibiade Ogun, Waterside local government area of Ogun State by men of the State Security Network, Amoteco Corps. And according to the story, he said the father accused the children of stealing. And then he decided to lock them up so that they are not able to steal anymore. They are 16, 17, and 18. This happened last year. And so 2 of them died because they were not properly taken care of. And he went ahead and buried them. So apparently one of them was, around the area when they found their auntie and reported the matter. So the ex-wife now took it up and took him to the police, and that's why they started investigations. And by the time they asked him, he said, no, that's the 2 that died, they were ill, he took them to the hospital. Investigation has not been able to find the hospital that he claimed he took them to. He said he buried them in a particular area. They've still been trying to locate where the corpses are. They can't find it. So they said further investigation will continue to know what is happening. There was no mention of the 3rd child, so I don't know where she is at the moment, but I think the government needs to do something and probably evaluate him. I think it's crazy.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Hello, Nigeria. Are you ready for the biggest show of the year? Toro Entertainment is celebrating timeless music like never before. But we heard you've been looking for the best. We are bringing the maker of timeless hits to the live stage.
Gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat history.
OBO will be performing live for the first time in a long time on the 23rd of April at Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos Island.
Gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power. Ginger.
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75.
I confirm.
Fellas house wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Rush on.
No be half. I try.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ ọmọ fẹlá. Ọmọ Aníkúlá Pókùtì. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Story about
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on Punch. Go ahead, please.
Overzealousness. So there's update on rice. They said that local rice, according to papers, prices have jumped by over 200% in 7 years, and largely blamed on insecurity. So the report on rice was based on the fact that despite all the interventions by Central Bank of Nigeria, the data from selected food price watch report by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics show that there's been specifically over 200% increase in the price of rice. And even though there was the president flagged off the rice pyramid with the paddies, they said that after the closure of the borders, the report shows that after closure of borders, the inflation, insecurity, all of this combined together has increased the price. The Rice Processors Association of Nigeria Director General Andy Ekwelem said that that nobody in Nigeria can claim not to be aware of the fact that the inflation would affect rice. And he mentioned there was good news during the period when the border was closed. Many Nigerians had to eat local rice, and now that the border has opened, importation of rice from Thailand has increased again. That when they closed the border, it dropped and improved the system, but now it has gone back up. He also mentioned the cost of fertilizers as part of the major reason price of rice would continue to go up, even from the party that the input cost for rice plantation is very high, from fertilizers to the process of planting, that all of this are what is affecting the hike in rice cost, as well as insecurity in terms of moving the paddy to processing. All of that joined together is the reason that the rice prices will continue to go up. There isn't any solution of how to bring the price down from the part of the rice processing people, but our president is feeling like, according to him, the report is saying that he feels that if we do more production, the prices would organically go down. But the rice processors are saying that the cost of production is high, so it really cannot bring the prices down. So,
I was going to take the FAC story. So FAC has finally shared 714 billion with all the 3 tiers of government. It's actually reduced by 8 billion naira compared to last month. But I was really drawn to the figures because our revenue is from these numbers is coming from 3 main sources: the gross statutory revenue, value-added tax, and electronic money transfer levies. I was surprised that electronic money is also a major revenue for our country.
No,
15 billion. Tells you why the banks are. So 15 billion came from the electronic transfers. Interestingly, VAT has 218 billion was shared, and the others were the gross statutory requirements. But it's just interesting how
our money
electronic
is our
levies.
money is our money.
It's actually our money. So we should start holding
understand it
accountable.
now. It's our money, it's our money, it's our money.
That's been shared.
It's not their money.
Okay, let us move on to Vanguard. Okay, the Tinubu futuristic police inquest into Adamawa polls. Idul Fitri, federal government declares Friday and Monday. Gotta love Nigeria. 2 days public holidays. Romance scam. Lady arrested for allegedly defrauding German of $220,000.
Background.
Not naira, dollars.
Wait now.
Judicial process will be followed on Araro Meda NNPC matter, says Buhari. Energy poverty. Over 60% of Nigeria's population lacks supply, says NLNG. DMO dismisses false claims on China loan payment. Ohaneze fumes over continued detention of Kanu. Insecurity, 1,266 killed, 4,973 kidnapped in 15 months, says Kaduna government. And crude oil exports, Malami allegedly paid $200 million as whistleblower fee, says reps. I gotta read that story. Okay, which story?
Yeah, so the Apex Igbo Sociocultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, worldwide, yesterday expressed expressed displeasure over the continued detention of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, by the Department of State Services, DSS, in the country. So the Igbo organization raised concern about the federal government's alleged disobedience of court orders bordering on the release and freedom of IPOB leader from detention. It went ahead to call on the federal government to address the health challenge facing Nnamdi Kanu, and appealing to the federal government to allow the IPOB leader to go for medical treatment urgently. So according to the story, they said, in strong terms, we frown at the level of injustices meted out on our brother Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, especially as it borders on his health and the federal government's continuous refusal to obey court orders. Security of lives and property are the fundamental responsibilities of every government, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's life is now at stake. And so the appeal is for all the quarters that are supposed to respond to the court order, release him so that he can go take care of himself. They also said that the governor of Anambra State, Soludo, has even agreed to shorty for him when that release comes. And so they are calling on the federal government to do the needful.
So we have a 21-year-old girl called Lady Atwona Choma. She's been arrested by operatives of the Police Special Fraud Unit in Ikoyi here in Lagos for allegedly defrauding a German citizen of $220,000. They say she's also a graduate of economics from the Nnamdi Azikiwe University. They did like a traditional wedding. He came to visit. They did a traditional wedding or introduction in Akwa Ibom. So she's been arrested and she's been asked about the proceeds, what she's used the money for. She said she bought 2-room flats somewhere in Lekki, and that the rest of the money she spent on her mother's medical bills.
Wow.
But I was looking for the place that confirms that she defrauded him. Because I don't know if he came back to Nigeria and couldn't find her, or is it that someone heard what he had done and assumed that she had defrauded him. I'm not saying, I just wanted to find more specifics. Yes. Could it be a love relationship gone sour? I just would like to see more information, but just based on this report, it does not really tie it for me.
Yeah. Okay, so the House of Representatives had ad hoc committee that is investigating the 48 million barrels of crude amounting to $2.4 billion and crude oil export to China from 2014 to date, said they have uncovered the payment of $200 million being paid by the Attorney General to whistleblowers. According to them, the process of that, this was according to them, the AG, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and the Minister of Finance had not been actually cooperating with the committee when they've asked them to give them answers to these questions concerning this $200 million that were paid. According to them, they've not been getting any form of cooperation from them. They've seen documentations from the Accountant General's office where the Minister of Finance approved payment of substantial amounts of money to so-called whistleblowers where details of monies recovered were not provided. So they've heard of this and their investigation and asked questions. Now this, committee's job is to always follow the money. Okay, you're paying this amount of money. Are you statutorily allowed to pay the amount of money? Is CBN aware you're paying this amount of money? And on what basis are these whistleblowers being paid? That's their own job to investigate. But according to them, they've not been given got any responses from these two parties. So they're asking and they're hoping that they can get responses from them. But when
before that becomes another industry to siphon money.
I want to take the story of the president saying that concerning the case of Senator Ararume, they would follow judicial process. So backstory, January 17, 2022, Senator Ararume was sacked from being the chairman of NNPC, and he took the case to court, and the judge, Federal High Court Abuja, Justice Inyang Ekwo had said that it was illegal for him to be removed the way it was done. It was wrongful sack and disruption of his appointment, and so they said that the government should pay him 5 billion naira as compensation because he was meant to be sworn in. They also said that every process that the NNPC board, any decision made by NNPC board during the past 1 year is now null and void. Wow. And the presidency through Femi Adesina said that according to them, they have already allowed they are going to allow the due judicial process take place, but the Office of the Attorney General said that they haven't received a formal ruling on this situation from the courts, so they are waiting until they get it and they will respond to it. But Nigeria, when they find us, these are monies that we can avoid. If we have to pay it just by following due process, we should just do things right.
Nigerian Tribune, our final paper: Abuja collapse war claimed 2 lives, 4 rescue, says FEMA. Dismissed Delta killer cop arraigned, remanded in prison. FG declares Friday and Monday public holidays. Got Broadcasting Corporation in Oyo State's studio. Find a story of not taking. At Kaduna Insecurity, bandits killed over 1,000, kidnapped over almost 5,000 people in 15 months. Okay, which story?
Yes, so FEMA, that's the Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency, has confirmed the death of 2 persons and also the rescue of 4 other individuals at a collapsed wall in Ademola Adetokunbo Crescent, Wuse to Abuja. The DG for FEMA says that the building under construction, they received a call between 10 to 11 a.m. that the building had collapsed, and they found it to be close to UBA at the Ademola Adetokunbo Crescent, Wuse 2. And he said that the building under construction
collapse. So
the building under construction wasn't the one that collapsed, that they were building very close to another building, and that they had gone beyond where they were supposed to build their own, and the wall of the neighbor fell on the artisans. The artisans were on top of the building when it fell. 2 of them died, 4 were rescued. There are a few others in hospital right now. And he just says that, Abuja residents should pay attention to the plan, to the Abuja plan, and also follow building approvals before they embark on buildings. We just talked about this yesterday. We talk about this all the time.
So there's a Delta policeman, Inspector Ubi Ebri, who was dismissed for allegedly shooting to death one Onyeka. If you recall, we always say that when a police officer shoots, the best the police can do is dismiss them. is the victim's family or the state that can therefore prosecute, and that's what was done here. So he had killed this Onyeka Ibe as a man during a stop and search back on April 5th in Delta State, and was on Wednesday arraigned in court and remanded in prison. He was charged to the magistrate's court, and the prosecutor G.O. Okwegbe was in court to ensure that he was being arraigned. So I mean, the procedure has started, but just for people to know that when this kind of things happen, the best the police can do is dismiss the person, but we must follow the case through to prosecute and ensure that justice is served. So this
the
person
police cannot prosecute.
They will dismiss.
They told us
dismiss
before that
and
they will dismiss. Yes.
Prosecute.
Well, that's what the police commission can do based on
We're
what we've been told so far.
to hear that.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we want a hot topic of the day. It's Thursday. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger,
Take it.
today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ ọmọ fẹlá ọmọ Aníkúlá Pókùtì wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
And ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just... I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person, but then would it make a difference where? So like this person might just say, you people can't just be on 3rd Mainland Bridge on a bike. And the person say, babe, I cannot do it again, and you lose range. So what would change the scenario for, like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner like the film you were mentioning?
No, like finding up
and
you,
then,
right?
or do you want to be on the street?
Don't carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you not a job.
Don't tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person, you have the closure that you want and they feel injury.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit down inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be
No,
driving
now
at
the
this
car will
point?
be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car
Just
will be
pray.
stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like I'm going to drive near water.
All of
You
us.
consider.
Thanks for staying with us. So we love Thursdays because you get to talk about family stuff and, you know,
Not politics.
it's kind of gist. I know politics. I know politics. Anyway, so there was a story that was online that actually caught our attention and we thought was worth talking about. You know, it was a video about a man who was asking his wife, who he obviously had married with children. So she had children, maybe 1 or 2 kids, before she finally got married to this man. With this man, she also had children for him. So the man had accepted her and her 2 kids, maybe previous marriage or previous relationship. And they're married and they have their own kids. So he was complaining and lamenting that it's time for her to take the children to their father because he was tired of raising another man's children. And the woman had responded saying that, you met me as a single mother. I had these children. You met me and you married me with my children. Now, midway into marriage, you're angry, marital, domestic issue. You can call us on 081-270-536-87, also 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Do you think this woman is right for accusing her husband of going back on the agreement, or do you think the man is right saying take the kids back to their father? What are your thoughts? Who'd like to go first on this? You want to start?
Okay, so I'll start by saying that before you get into any type of relationship, you must count your cost. You must look beyond the butterflies in your stomach. You must look beyond that first phase of feeling, because when you're starting out a relationship, there's usually this first phase where everything is all right, where you're seeing everything colorful. The pink is there, the red is there, the rainbow colors are there, you're excited. You're seeing some signs that at the end of the day, you may not be able to deal with, but because of the way you're feeling at the moment, you make the decision to go on with this person. I met a guy in the university. We're having a conversation and he told me that he would not marry anybody who has a child. And I felt offended, like, what do you mean by that? Why will you say you will not marry somebody? What if you love the lady? What if you do this? He said he knows himself deep down that after that first phase where the love goes down, he may not be able to really take care of another man's child in his home. And so he's going to make it clear to any girl he's going to date when we leave school and all that, that if you have a child, let me know so that I can just take a walk. That was somebody who was putting his logic before his emotions, because he understands that in the long run he may not be able to deal with it. Now this for me is a case of
dishonesty. You knew at some point that it will not be okay for you to take care of another person's child. Why did you go for the lady?
He didn't know. He thought he could.
No.
In the beginning, he thought he could.
No. He wanted the lady. By all means, for whatever he was feeling at the time, he wanted that lady. But he knew deep down that after a while, so in his mind, probably I'm just trying to assume, in his mind, he felt, when I've gotten everything I want, I can always tell her to take these kids out of the way. He felt that way. But he forgot that a woman you met who was single, who was already used to these children, raising the children, would find it very difficult to let go of the children for you. And I've seen women who have, with this kind of information now, they just carry the children and start looking for the father. Come and take your children. No, my new husband doesn't want. So you're not paying attention to the emotions of these children. You want to take them away from their mother because now you can no longer pay the bills or whatever problem is happening. I think it's dishonesty, and I think that guy should be called out.
We'll come back to the children and how they feel. Let's start with this act. Let me come to you. Talk about women. Who don't go? What are your thoughts on this behavior?
So there are a lot of people that are experiencing major economic hardship in Nigeria at the moment, and while I am all for you have taken responsibility, you should be responsible all through, I feel sometimes it's okay to vent in that moment. So when I listened to the video, I could see a man that is frustrated, like, or would they catch up? He's feeling the heat of financial responsibilities, and he's trying to find which weight I can shed, and I feel that right from the get-go, foundationally, there was something wrong, because if from the beginning of that relationship, he saw those children as his children, that no matter how much poverty is slapping him, he would not think of discarding his own children. So from the beginning of that relationship, he always felt that these are not my children. I will take care of them. But when things became hard, he was quick to say, I'm going to discard these children. And there's also the case of, I feel that we must find a way to express ourselves. So I was listening to his language. There was no sense of ownership. There was no sense of attachment or responsibility or love or affection for those children. It was a case of money. These people have their own children. Their father is alive. The father should take care of their children. And we don't have the entirety of that story to know how many years have they been married. Or if they've had kids, in the minimum, it would be like 2 years. Is it that they didn't have any emotional bond with the children within those 2 years? But it's a major lesson for single mothers. I believe that there are men out there, single mothers and single fathers. There are men out there and there are women outside there that will be willing to love you and love your children. Don't, because you want to get married, overlook the signs, because it is obvious this man would have been reflecting the fact that he did not have an emotional bond with those children.
All right, let me come to Mariam, because there are men that they started out well. The intention was, okay, I love you. I don't care. These children, we watch all these movies all the time. I will love them. I will care for them. They're my children, And they love, they take you home, and they thought they could actually handle it. But midway, this conversation comes up. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so for me, when I was listening to this conversation, it did not sound serious to me. Because if you're talking about take the children back to their father, usually the tone of that sort of conversation, if it's serious, is not done this way. That's how I see it. If it's a serious conversation of sit down, we need to look at this properly. I don't think I can take care of these children anymore. It's not done over it's not a shouting match conversation. I feel it's a situation of someone who's frustrated about something. And if you listen carefully to what he's frustrated about, because of what he said, I think many of us will make the mistake and think this is a man that has just gone rogue, like I'm not. But if you listen to what he said, everything I do for them, but when I send them on errands, you complain that why am I sending them and not my own children? And yet I'm doing everything for them. So this is a man that is frustrated by, choose, madam, are they my children or are they somebody's children? That's how I heard it. And if that's the case, then allow me to treat them how I would treat my children. But if they are not, they have a father who can take care of them. So for me, I know that when the children are yours, you should not even have that conversation. You should not even open that kind of worms and make it sound like that. But sometimes the other spouse, sometimes the mothers, the wives need to take responsibility, for how they manage information, how they present these children. I know of this. I know of people personally who have been in situations like this, where they are constantly walking on eggshells around the children that have come in. I love you and I love your children, but how far can I discipline them? How much love can I show them without it coming across as weird? When I'm in bed with my children, they're running all over me. Are my stepchildren allowed to come on? When I punish our children, would you say, how come the strokes for this one was 6 and the one for this one was 4? So you are not sending me mixed messages. Auntie, I'm tired. Let's choose. So for me, that's where I saw the conversation was.
All right, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, so we're going to zoom. So you're right. If we look at it properly, we can dissect it. But as usual, we only use these stories as a reference. But the real conversation I want to talk about is when you're married in this situation, whose responsibility is it to raise those children? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this, because I have this question for you. Final question. No. Where outside Nigeria and what here? Think you're the only one that can be wicked?
I am thinking, because I know back in the day.
Don't think. Answer my question quick. You are thinking too much. I don't like it.
The UK.
Final answer. Okay. I said, God, please, let me to perform outside Nigeria.
Wait.
And God gave me a show in Ghana. Drink, my friend, drink. I don't
overthink this thing. See where I can.
Yes, you overthink them.
I would say you should catwalk.
Let's catwalk now. Where are we?
No, that's not catwalking.
That's good talking.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you get
Come closer. A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests.
Wow. My typical day is filled with
Thanks for staying with us. So this matter we're discussing is very, very important because the conversation I would like us to focus on is the integrity of this arrangement. Whose responsibility is it to raise children who don't belong to you, but you love their mother? Because we always see how people are so quick to saying, I love you, I love everything about you, and I will take full responsibility. And then you get stuck. So my question to you, let me come back to Mariam. Was it right for him to want those kids back? Let's put aside the point that the woman herself also has been maybe reckless in how she's raising the kids compared to
something that depends on every relationship is unique. Sometimes you meet a single mother who is co-parenting with an ex-husband or an ex-partner, and that other family is very much involved. If the father himself is not involved, maybe the grandparents are involved, the family, the children know who their father is and their father's family, and they're very much involved. And to the extent of maybe how much money this new relationship, how much money this new man you're going to a new relationship is, so probably you'll find he will chip in here and there, but usually the main responsibility is taken by their biological father or grandparents or things like that, and that's fine. It has to be discussed. No assumptions. Do not just assume these things. Then there are some single mothers that they're on their own. Nobody sends them, not just your husband, but I want to be the adoptive father. I want to be the legal guardian. I want to make sure that this child never wonders for one day who his father is, because I'm stepping into those shoes. And when you do that, you can never, ever bring up the conversation about going back to your father, because you are the father.
So parents who are together, who married, like the way we married without bringing children from outside, still have conversations on how to properly raise and discipline their children. Is an ongoing conversation, because we always come from different backgrounds. So probably his idea of how to chastise the kids is different from mine, and it's a clash that from time to time we go on. It happens in the household. I'm constantly dragging Oga, no, don't shout like this, no, don't flog like this, no. And he's, oh, no, don't let them do this, don't do this, you know. It's a conversation that normal homes have on a daily basis, and that's why if you know that you're getting into this type of arrangement, you must begin to have that conversation, because if normal people can have this problem, it's one mother, one father, there's no step in between, and then we still argue on how to properly raise and discipline and send these kids on errands. What do you expect when you're adopting another man's children into your home? And so women must be sincere in how they have this sort of conversation. So I know that some women do not like it when their husbands beat their children. It's something that they don't like, even when they are both the parents of these children. But then you ask yourself, what's your template on disciplining children? How many strokes the discipline goes? There's a way you have that conversation. You go into the bedroom. I'm going to say this again. Somebody called me out on it, saying every time you say go into the bedroom to go and talk, sometimes we need to talk in the parlor or the parlor, but it will be a conversation on, I really do not like how you are going about this. Is there a different way we can do it? But for you to outrightly say, okay, you don't tire me, I send them on errand, they don't answer me, and I want to send them to their father, I think that's totally wrong.
Let me take this call from Austin. It's calling from Benin. Good morning, Austin. You're live.
Morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
This is an interesting topic. I follow this and I'm enjoying it. All of you there have actually spoken, explained both sides of the coin. But what I want to say is the woman is absolutely right. Very, very right to object to the husband or whatever. One, because the man went into the marriage with his two eyes open. He was not coerced, neither was he intimidated or maybe subjected to say you must marry. I see the man as being a wicked and selfish person. So those children must stay there because, one, in the words of Chino Achebe, if you carry an uninfested wood into your sitting room, you must expect lizards as guests. I think it is his cross. Let him carry it. Period.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, let me throw a curveball in here because let's imagine the father of the kids is doing well. He actually can't. He's just abandoned the woman, maybe for issues they've had, and he just left her. And the man, the husband, knows that the father of these kids is doing well where he has his own children, has his own family, has moved on.
Struggling.
And I'm here struggling. So in that situation, even though you have made a promise to your wife that we are here till death do us part, do you think it's still right for him to insist that they go to their father, even though when he knows the father is doing well?
Well, the conversation of the father is doing well or looking towards that father is because you are not taking ownership of the responsibility for those children. Yeah. Once you've taken over that these are my children, I'm raising them, they would love me. Even if that father is rich somewhere, they would know that I took responsibility for them and I love them. You will not think about it. The real focus I wanted to highlight, because there are many people watching and they might find themselves in that situation or be able to advise someone in a situation, is the level of self-awareness we need to have before getting married. We don't ask some questions, and you must know yourself enough to know. I've spoken to someone who, she's trying to have children, and I told her that, why don't you consider surrogacy? She said, I know myself, I will struggle at some point raising that child. I find it difficult even with my nieces and nephews sometimes. So imagine if I now have to raise someone that I know we have no biological connection. It will be a struggle. So she decided to go the path of surrogacy as opposed to adoption. So that there is a blood connection. You know, so when you must know yourself enough to know and be honest with yourself that at some point think about the future. What's the worst case scenario? You know, with three we're loving, no baggage. When you are already, when you have a child, no matter how beclouded you are with love, you are responsible for a full human being. You must
not be a fool.
Yes, you cannot be foolish about your decisions.
23, 24, 25.
And you already have two children, but you're not responsible. You're no longer a baby.
Yeah.
You're no longer a baby. No matter how old you are, once you have a child, you have become a parent, and you must prioritize that child. So your self-awareness level, your ability to question what you are going to deal with must be really, really high, and you must be able to face the situation you are dealing with. Also, please, let me just quickly mention, at no point should, in this Nigeria of today, no man should have to carry the entire financial responsibility of a household by himself. Because if that woman was contributing financially, he cannot have that conversation if he's having it. But if you are both parties in a relationship, even if all the children are your own, you should be able to help out financially. That man the man should not have to be complaining and groaning and
what
saying,
if the man has agreed that listen, all I want you to stay home. There are men that insist that you
we talk about all kind of marriage.
When the man says stay home, it happens.
Okay, you have a call?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say that, you see...
Have a call, please. Sorry, darling.
All right.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Hello, good morning. Yakub.
Yakub.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is a very, very difficult topic, quote and unquote. You see, you all spoke very well, and then I agree with you all. But Morayo, you have said something. See, we men, when we are talking about love, when you love someone, you may not be able to see all the angles. At that moment, you may not be able to see that. Because of the love you have for the woman, you may not be able to go to the extent that you have this kid that I'm going to write. And then at the end of the day, spending all my money, treating them very well, at the end of the day, when the children have gone mature, they go to university, and then they mature enough to take their own decisions. They must ask the woman that, where's their father? And at the end of the day, the woman says their father is somewhere. They look after their father, and then they go back there. You get it? So what is going to be the gain of the father and talk them? So this question, this very particular topic is very,
Thank you very much, Raku. Let me go on a quick break. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not There's no judgment.
No, and I
they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
resentment from
on
home.
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Mom, just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
when they are nice divorcees,
I would just.
What if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll just drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira,
If
take
you're
10K,
sugar
take
daddy
15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good boss.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter. Mariam, we're going to say something before the break. Go ahead.
So I was going to say that, at this table, we're going to make some apologies. You know how we always hear about our older generation? And one of the things we hear them about is how they are too involved in our personal. Why is the in-law putting their mouth? Why is it auntie and uncle putting? Because they know when you are in love, you need extra pairs of ears and eyes to help you. For people who already are coming with children into marriage, I know that parents or your older generation would sit you down and ask you, are you sure? And at that time, you'd be like, love conquers all. I'm sure I love her, nothing can change it. Like, wait, uncle, what if they decide giving you scenarios? What if this and this happens? What if this and this happens? Sometimes it's not to even discourage you. It's to even test to see if you're ready for what would happen, how you would handle it when this happens. It's so important. I know that love is important, and I believe that love can conquer a lot of things, and I believe that love plus maturity, and if you just realize that this person that I'm in this relationship with is my friend, we're in this together, there's nothing that you guys cannot do together. I believe that. But I also believe in discussing some things, and the truth is that many of us would go into marriages or have gone into marriages, and many young people will go into marriages without seeing a lot of things that may happen. And it's normal and it's natural and it's human. Not many people have the gift of foresight. If we did, there's some steps we would not take today. But the truth is, we hope that we are resilient enough and honest enough that when we find ourselves in situations, we are ready to be responsible.
There's something you said that struck a chord. I've always wanted to mention it to BC because BC talks about it a lot, but I don't have to take this call. I'll come back to it in a second. Olubimi from Abuja, thanks for calling. You're live. You're live. Go ahead.
Morning.
Yeah. Okay. You guys look nice, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Okay. Love blind, and when you're in love with someone, I think it's important for others who are involved, especially with the person in love, to let them see some things. There was something one of you raised, the lady in black. She said that try and bring something to the table. Believe me, as a woman, just like you said, if the man says stay at home, please go out of your way to make sure you bring something to the table. Because I'm telling you, the man will get to a stage, he will hate you. And you will be surprised that you will not be thinking he's having an affair. No, he's not. He might even be pushed to start doing that. That's just the truth. If you don't bring anything to the table, you have like 2, 3, 4 children, and you're not bringing anything to the table, he will hate on you. Because now, even businesses in Nigeria, to do business in Nigeria is difficult, it's expensive. Now it's tedious, it's so much more than doing business in Ghana or going to Togo.
Right.
Please, what you guys are talking about, I appreciate you people a lot, but if you are bringing something to the table, the man will have no choice than to tag along.
Thank you very much, Olubunmi. I'll swap the word hate. Hate is such a strong word. So maybe I'll say disrespect. You know, when the man begins to disrespect you when he feels that he's the one doing everything. But there was something that talked by Miriam said earlier that was going to happen to success. Discussion. You see, BC says a lot that before you enter marriage, you have to discuss this thing. But these days, young people will tell you that it's becoming more like an interview where the girl is trying to ask you so many questions. You are dating somebody and they think,
how much do you earn? If this thing happens,
because a lot of coaches will tell you, you have this conversation, you have to discuss. And it's like, it's no more that free love. I like this guy, I love him, where I just enjoying the moment, and we then go out to dinner, and the connections are there, and we had that. We didn't have conversations over.
No, we didn't.
We didn't over discuss certain things because it was when you entered the marriage or when you started courting, you now started having those conversations. But when you're dating, you're just meeting, hanging out, having friends. A lot of young people are having to be forced with conversation, and the guys are frustrated.
Be calming down.
He's asking questions.
Be calming down, my sister. Be calming down. So you that did not have the conversations, are there not things now that you are noticing that if you had sorted out in the beginning or cleared it in the beginning, it would have worked out better for you?
Let me say
no. Hold on. No. Wait, let me just land everything. You can answer together. The idea is not for you to just be having interview sessions when you go out to
it sounds like
you not bring your list. That's okay.
Your notes and pad.
You do this. The idea is for you to understand the values of the other person and check if your values align. Because when your values align, whatever challenges come, you will hold hands. According to my little daughter, come with daddy holding hands. You will hold hands together and solve the problem. So you get into a relationship without knowing the values of the person. You self, you are not self-aware enough to know your own values. There are some clashes that another person who understands their values, they will have the same challenges, but they are able to move through it and move. We want an easy life for you. There are some things that, people who have been married for a long time complain about, that it gets them to this point and they've resigned to. It's my cross. Let me just carry it. Is that what you want for yourself? So do your homework by understanding the values of the person. Issues will definitely come in marriage. Issues like this will come up on a daily basis. Issues of we use toothpaste, so you take the toothpaste from the end, you take it from the top.
The Holy Spirit will help you to carry.
So every marriage you will still complain, even with the Holy Spirit helping you to
carry. I have a call. Come to you in a second. I have a call. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
All right. I just want to say something to this discussion. You guys can discuss all of this until the reality is done on us. Sometimes all this conversation that we are talking about, you might not, like we were saying earlier on, there are some conversations that even men will deliberately avoid. And when the reality comes on you, when the financial, obligation comes on you, it's God done. We cannot really totally blame the man. He might have good intention. He might want to, nurture the children. He might want to take care of them. But when the reality of the need for him to take care of the financial need comes up, that's when you will really understand what is confronting you. I like what Otoko was saying, that as a woman you should bring something to the table, because when you bring something to the table, at that time that the man is feeling the weight, you can help him cushion the weight by, supporting him and doing something. Absolutely. But the truth is that let's not totally condemn the man. Sometimes when needs are overwhelming, men tend to react. Women, we can manage so many things. We can take so many responsibilities. Men are not wired like that. I'm telling you, women can manage so many things. But when it comes to, when challenges are too overwhelming, men are like babies.
Yeah. Thank you, before Tomek jumps in, 2 words. Challenges bring out the core of you. A kind man will not suddenly become wicked with challenges.
My sister.
And that's why you must find, even if you don't have the total picture of the core of that person, you must find a similitude of what they believe in, what their values are, what their beliefs are, because that is what will come out when the challenges hit. At some point in our lives, we have been faced with very tight challenges that, okay, how do we pay the bills? How do we do this? How do we do that? That is when you see the core of the person. Let me ask yourself, is this core, is this core, am I okay to deal with this core? Once you know that the core aligns with you, whatever happens,
I'll come to conquer. Yes, imagine your brother for a second. Is in love with Aisha. Aisha has 2 kids. And your brother is a good person. He loves it, everything, and he has given everything. And then these 2 kids are now, like my own kids are 9-year-old, they eat 1 loaf of bread, is done. So somebody else is there, they're in your house, they finish 1, 2, 3 loaves in the minute. And guys, then your brother is thinking, our own child is just 10 months old. He's just taking the meal. I'm here feeding these kids. How would you advise if it comes to that, sis, I'm frustrated, I mean, I love these kids, they're like mine, but the truth is that I am overwhelmed.
You don't love them.
You don't love them. Because if they are your children eating, have you sent your kids away for eating the 2 loaves of bread?
You don't even see them as
make us appreciate. We become so me, my family, and when we were growing up, like everybody's house, there's always somebody around there. You're cooking 1 massive pot, and it wasn't like our parents were that rich that they could afford to take care of. People were paying school fees for their younger ones. People still do that till now. They're paying for cousins. Your brother will come from one village. You say, go and meet your uncle in Lagos. We were communal. We knew we were going to take responsibility for everybody. And it wasn't out of surplus. It was out of the responsibility and kindness of heart. And we are now growing into a generation of sectionalism. I have to take care of my children. For the children will go to this best kind of schools, and then you go to grade B, C, D. And I think we need to get back to that space where we don't think in terms of this one is my child and this one should get better and this is the quality of life this person should get. At the end of the day, kindness is universal. And no matter how tough this man might actually be a really, really kind person under pressure at this moment, and 2 days after, he will come back and apologize for the way he reacted that, okay, I was just venting in the moment. These things happen because I know somebody, maybe a caller or someone was mentioning that you wouldn't have even said it. Sometimes we say things. Some pressure would bring out things that you are even shocked at yourself, like, I can't even believe I can say this kind of thing. But you must be, if you are able to go back and say, that's not me. That was me reacting. This is not who I want to be or who I think I am. Then you go back and apologize for the situation and correct that situation. But that moment of pressure can release things within you that you don't even know.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll take the next phase. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Write it down.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power. Ginger.
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road. Nepa Road. In Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ ọmọ fẹlá. Ọmọ Aníkúlá Pókùtì. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
There's no judgment.
No, and I
they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
resentment from
on
home.
you.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, there was a story that I was going to come to you, Mary, in a second. But I remember while we're talking about this, there was a wedding that was about to happen, and I'm not sure it was the father of the mother. I'm trying to remember which parent it was. But a woman or a man raised children himself. I think it was a guy, yes. He raised the kids with them. He married the mother. And then it was time to get married. They went to look for their biological father to walk them down the aisle. And he didn't find that funny because he did his job. According to him, he did his job. He raised them, sent them to school. But at some point in life, they went to find their biological father, and that they were grown up, the adults. And I think he confided in somebody I knew, like he was an adult. He didn't really need them to have come to him. But he said there was something in him that was hurt, that he just felt that he has raised these kids until, they're now doing well, but he felt that that day was a day for them to honor him somewhat. Although he was fine that it was, because they actually came for his permission.
To get the
can I bring a father? And he can't tell them no, because that's their biological father. But somewhere inside him, he was hurt that this was the man who did nothing, did not raise them, did not pay one school fees, walked that woman, walked that girl down the aisle, and that didn't hurt him. But he just knew that maybe so he felt bad. So in that situation, then things like that happen. It kind of then reminds you of maybe he should have done what this man did earlier, that carried these kids to their father, because I can't raise them.
You know, one thing with stories is that then we stop. We never ask of what happens afterwards. Because you may be surprised that the children came to the realization and, you know, come back to even ask for forgiveness for that behavior. Because if you do truly raise a child as yours and you show the person love, just raise that person as a parent, they don't ever forget it. And even our children make mistakes. Our own biological children make mistakes. And, you know, sometimes as adults, we let them live with their mistakes. Then when they come by themselves, realize what they've done. So probably that's not how that story ends. And if it even ends that way, you know, as Christians, as believers, your reward is in heaven. I've never shared this, but I will today. So when my dad died, my father's family was just completely out of the picture. And my stepfather was there, you know. And at my wedding, my mother went to go and calculate this. That means she went to go and dig up the father's family. I don't know for, you know.
For what reason?
For what reason. And so there's a part where you come and sit with your parents. And I came and I saw a strange looking person sitting beside my mom, like, hello? What's happening here? And I see my stepfather sitting further away. I insisted right there that he be put
right next to your mom.
Right next to my mom. And then we continued because it doesn't make sense to me. And so, you know, some people are aware early, some are not. And also, my mom did that not because she thought they deserved it, but because society, culture, they need to know that she comes from somewhere. You know? But it does not matter. For me, what mattered to me is this person, however he turned out, he was the one that was present. And so that was taking me to the next point I was going to make, that many people also think that this relationship, stepfather, stepmother relationship is about money. It's not always about money. Sometimes the stepfather can even have more money than the biological father, and the stepfather decides to give you only money. but the child is seeking love, is seeking support, is seeking identity. Yeah. So he's seeing his siblings with their father, and I'm in that house, but I can see I'm treated differently. But we go to the same schools, we travel and do everything. That child is not happy. So sometimes money is even the smallest of things to worry about. I would appreciate a man who, you know, gives all that, who is able to give all that. And some men have even, and it's unlikely for a decent man who's decided to take on children to say, you know what, their biological father is making so much money. Let's go and ask the man, or why don't you? In fact, most men would feel insulted. They'll be like, yes, I have only 13 naira, and that's the 13 naira I'm going to use to raise all my children. I am proud of it, and they'll be proud of me. However, he and his millions can go and do whatever they want to do. Most decent men would not go cap in hand and be asking. In fact, if they do that, the wife will be worried, you know. And there have been situations where men have done their best raising children that are not biologically theirs. And then you have the wife go behind that man's back and goes cap in hand, asking from biological father that was never present, never wanted to be present, and is asking for money and making this person. So there are different dynamics, but truly I believe that a man who decides that these children are mine usually faces his front, and that's all he.
If this lady now in question was your sister, she's your sister, and it's like she's telling you that her husband is asking her to take her kids back to her husband, to her ex or whoever it is, how would you advise her?
So I would ask her what is most important. So I'll start by asking, what was the conversation people had in the beginning? Okay, promise he was going to look after the child, he was going to do this, he was going to do that, but now challenges have come, we are not able to pay bills, blah, 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 blah. Then I will ask, so what is important to you right now? What do you want to do concerning this? Would you want to give up your children to stay in this marriage, or would you want to, if he insists, take yourself out of the marriage with your children? The decision is hers to make. But I also wanted to point out something. I know that I've not gotten to that level where I've raised another person's child and I'm expecting returns. But I think people need to understand that the choices of the child will be the choices of the child later on. Whatever you're doing for any child in your care, do it for God and move on from it. Do not expect any. That's one of the ways that I'm beginning to manage relationships. Do not expect anything, because the child can wake up tomorrow and say, is that one that I've not seen since I want to go and look for? He's the one I want to come and sit here. If in the other, you know, after a while he realizes that, okay, I did the wrong thing and comes to apologize, fine. However, accept it in good faith, because you cannot determine the outcome. You can only control what you have power over. You cannot determine the outcome of another full-blown individual. And so that you don't break your own heart, raise the children and raise them the best way that you can. If they choose to go and look for their biological father, I don't think you should feel bad that they did that, because you cannot control that outcome. Then secondly, aside from the conversation that I advise you must have, observation is the most important aspect when you're dating.
Oh, yes.
You must look. And
Non-verbal.
look beyond what is being said, because we have realized a lot of people say lies. They say what they don't mean, but their actions show something different. How does he treat his nieces and his nephews? Is he someone that is always irritated when children are around him, and you think after a while he will keep loving your children that way? He won't do that. So observe him while he's telling you, I love your children, I'm buying meat pie for them, I'm paying small money for them. Observe how he treats them. Observe how he treats his neighbor's kids that come around him. Observe him.
I always
I'll come to you.
Just say it's 2 seconds. I get messages a lot from viewers, young girls, and say, oh, I'm dating this man who used to be married. How did you know that's your husband? I always say the good part of dating someone who used to be married is that, or has children, is that you can see firsthand how he treats. You are getting exposed that two singles will never have
at all.
Sometimes.
Good morning, Akin. Are you there? Thanks for calling.
Good morning. Thank you.
You're live.
For having me.
This is what Mariam said. Raising kids is not only about financial, it's also the emotional connection. So maybe the nanny had the emotional connection, but mother probably provided the finances, but was never there, provided everything that you have.
Let me answer the question you asked, BC, concerning if it was if this is the experience of someone I wanted to advise personally. First thing I'll say is, when I listened to the conversation, she wasn't listening. She wasn't listening. And many of us don't listen. Many of us just hear and reply. Whenever we're having when the conversation is tough, the onus is on us to actually listen to what is being said and what is not being said. And question to get more. Why are you saying this? What is changing? What is happening? Because until you properly diagnose the problem, you cannot provide a solution. And in most cases, people are just saying, no, how can you say that? You know me before. No, that won't solve the problem. The first thing is, why are you saying this? Today. Explain to me, what did I do wrong? What did the children do wrong? How can we do better? What is the problem? Because you were not like this before we got married. Something changed. So when you diagnose what that problem is, you can then identify what are the possible solutions, what can we do, how can we improve on this situation. But listening carefully for me would be the first advice that I would give that person in the situation. Then every other advice that you see.
Fantastic.
Can I?
Very quickly.
Okay, dating. Which I just wanted to say that it's not because I remember one time on social media this went viral. Someone said he invited someone out to date. I immediately asked her what are her first five something goals. And then once her 5-year plan, she was like, bros, please bye. You know, so we're not saying you should go and make it about an interview.
Yes.
It is in conversations and in observation as they please, we're not saying take a notepad.
No, that's what
I know. I know. If people like us are likely to do that, but please, you can.
Okay, let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll take a few social media comments and then we wrap up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
No. Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink.
Huh?
No problem.
Okay.
I've always known it as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I just said, let me give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Sony.
Drink!
I'm not done. You did not say final answer.
It's final answer.
You did not ask me if that was my final answer.
You don't have any choice again. It's only
Nikon.
How many cameras do they have? My
Nikon.
friend to drink. I gave you a very easy something.
Nikon now. Ladies and gentlemen, please help welcome to the show, La General, the one and only Pere Egbe. Which of the following is false about teeth? We are born with 20 primary teeth. Teeth are the hardest substance in the body. Teeth are the strongest bones in the body.
Teeth is not a bone, actually.
Teeth can self-repair.
The strongest bone in the body, no. Teeth is not a bone.
Final answer?
Teeth is not a bone.
What's it down to?
When was the first Gulda ultimate search? Editor?
Don't put any cricket sound. I'm talking. Okay, Pere. How many times has Ghana qualified for the World Cup?
5 times. Hey, you can't do that now.
That's what it is.
Wait. Calm down. Why are you like this?
This is your team.
Small play now.
They will not
Somebody cannot play with you again.
They will not be impressed though. The team that you're supporting. And
Ghana will be alright.
Yeah, that's last.
Charlie? Cheers, Charlie.
Some are struggling to make the desired impact. One missing piece could be exposure, and we'll be having with us the resident pastor at King's Word and Executive Vice President of King's Word and the New Churches and International Ministry with locations in Nigeria, United Kingdom, North America. Welcome with us, Pastor May in the building. Welcome, Ma. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we know you'll be talking about your upcoming conference in a moment, because I know that's why you came. But there was a conversation we're talking, and since we're having a heavy guest like you, we have to ask your thoughts on it, you know. We had discussed the fact that a man married a woman who already had children, and they were fine with it, and all parties were okay. Midway in the marriage, he's now complaining of the additional responsibilities, asking the woman to return these 2 children to their biological father. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it was a good idea?
Well, I think that the conversation you've had on this so far has been very interesting. Being a pastor, I've seen this in a number of different scenarios. I've seen situations where it's worked out. I've seen situations where it didn't work out so well. I want to say that it's a situation that requires a lot of discussion, conversation before, during, and when there's friction, there's a lot of conversation that needs to happen. I don't think it's right to send the children back because things have changed. Marriages go through a lot of seasons, and this is just another season, like, you know, any normal marriage would go through. And the man may regret it later on if he just sends the children back. And just having the children uprooted from where they are at right now and trying to plant them, even though it's their biological father, doesn't mean it's going to be healthy for them. Or even healthy for him in this marriage, because the mother isn't automatically going to switch and say, okay, it's okay, you know, finances are going the wrong way, they are not going as planned. I understand. No, it's going to affect that marriage.
No, we didn't even discuss the children. We didn't even discuss how this affects the kids. But let's take a few comments on social media. I have one from Otumba Karim. He says that it is nauseating, albeit disappointing, to see innocent children having to go through what they did not bargain for. For a man to leave his children for another man to train is irresponsible. He says if a man has to marry a woman who has children, the man should be ready to marry such a woman with her responsibilities, irrespective of the financial and primordial challenges. Nobody knows tomorrow. Those children may even be the ones more supportive of him than his biological children in future. We've seen this happen all the time. Any other comments before we wrap up?
Yes, Honorable Ademola says, Alalade says, let's be honest, all these challenges we're talking about can only be solved with money. If both parties are well endowed and have well-paid jobs, businesses, and money is available, there won't be any problem. Let us pray that we have enough resources at our disposal. But I also take H.O.B. Bangbade's message. She says the real issue is not money. It is about the trauma the man is subjected to by the wife in relation to the children from the previous marriage. The wife nags when the children are sent on errands, reminding the husband that the children are not his. That's traumatic.
Okay, so that's all we can take on that. We just wanted to wrap that up. But the truth is, in a nutshell, just like Pastor May has said, the conversations must start before and even during the marriage. And in this kind of situation, you don't expect a woman to switch their emotional connections to this. So in every situation like this, it's hard. Everybody has a role to play. The father, the biological father, and the woman all have to have public conversation, because in the West, we always have this organized structure of co-parenting, but it's not totally organized here. We've not really formalized it here. So it's just kind of, we have to just kind of find a way. So we have to find a way to ensure that co-parenting is properly institutionalized in a way that it's recognized and people can take full responsibility. So back to our guest in the building.
Pastor May.
Pastor May, you have a conference coming up. You know, it's for women conference, and it's about getting women in leadership. I mean, let me hear your thoughts on women in leadership. Is it true that women are not really being given that opportunity in leadership?
Well, it's not that women aren't trying, but statistics show, and I strongly feel that they are not reaping the fruits of their labor as much. Now, I'll give a little bit of correction. The conference itself, it's not just about leadership, but it's about exposing women to more. And some of the issues that women struggle with in the corporate world, in businesses, entrepreneurship, and even running non-profit organizations may be connected to the level of exposure that we're intentionally giving ourselves. And that's what we want to talk about in the conference, and we want to look at exposure through different lenses. And I don't know, should I go into that? Yeah. I mean, you wake up is morning, you know, so how do we make the day we wake up morning and start acquiring the knowledge we need? We'll look at exposure through the lens of learning. It's not everyone that's exposed to knowledge that learns. Sometimes we may be surrounded with so much knowledge, but not learn, because there are certain things that prevent us from learning. One of such things is bias. If we have a bias against the person who is trying to give us the knowledge, something is going to switch off in our minds. Oh, he's too young, he's too old, he's not relevant, he's not married, he's not this, he isn't that. You know? So, I mean, how do we stop our biases from hindering our learning? We'll look at exposure through the lens of relationships. Relationships expose us to much more. I don't need to experience everything in life, but if somebody I am in a relationship with has had a certain experience, then I can have the exposure that they have had. But you know what, as beneficial as relationships are, they are very difficult. It's very easy to get hurt. It's very easy to get, you know, turned away from somebody. It's very easy, even for envy and jealousy to come in and affect our relationships. For example, if your friend gets promoted to a certain level at work and it's giving them more exposure, I mean, how are you going to handle it, you know, especially if it's a position you have always wanted? You know, a natural part of us wants to pull back, you know, want to say, oh, okay, you know, I'm not jealous, but, you know. You are. You know, but that friend's exposure that's supposed to benefit me then becomes, you know, non-beneficial to me because I am not handling their promotion the right way. So we want to look at relationships. What are the things that affect us in relationships? Because some of us are struggling for places, for positions that just the right relationship will just give us a key to. You know, I mean, exposure, mentoring in exposure is very, very important. Mentoring relationships, you know, peer-to-peer relationships, and so on and so forth.
I just, you see that exposure through relationships and talking about envy and jealousy and maybe taking yourself out of something that can benefit you. Could you just give us an advice? If you find yourself in a situation like that, yes, my friend has gotten this promotion and is giving her this exposure. I can't get it because I'm not there. In what way can I still maintain that? Why is it beneficial for me to maintain that relationship? And would maintain that relationship give me that exposure through her? Could you just talk to us about that?
Oh, it's so important to maintain that relationship because it's like your friend has climbed the ladder and is looking over a wall, and maybe you are still on the ground, and the friend is telling you what's over that wall. You see, I may not be able to see what's over the wall, but the fact that I'm getting that information where I'm at will let me know that there's more to life. Or else I may never know. You know, I put something on social media a few months back that, you know what, if somebody is going to get that promotion, why not someone I know? Isn't it better for it to be someone I know, who I can benefit from, who I can sit down and say, what does it feel like to go to Aso Rock? You know, rather than someone I have no access to, right? But you know the reason why we find it difficult? If somebody you don't know, for example, I asked people, I said, do you get jealous of Elon Musk? No. Probably not. No. Do you get jealous of Bill Gates? No. Why? Because you don't find a basis for comparison. You are not close enough to compare yourself to any of these people. But once somebody in our circle, someone we can compare ourselves with, someone we can say, oh, we went to the same school, oh, we go to the same church, oh, we live on the same street.
Where's that one jeans?
That one jeans. Once it's somebody that we can compare ourselves to, then that jealousy kicks in because it's an indictment against ourselves. We see their promotion, we're like, why not me? And really at the bottom of that is something that's condemning you, telling you that, why not you?
Right. Let me take your video because it's important for us to see this. Watch this clip.
Okay.
It's just like tomorrow. Fantastic. Well done.
So I would have loved to dig into the relationship thing, but because of time, how do we begin to have women who mentor us? You know, you mentioned, you just highlighted a bit of it when you were talking about the relationships. How do we build women who would mentor a lot of women? There are women out there who need to be in close proximity with women who have made it, who have, you know, crossed over the other side, who want to get inspiration, ask questions. You're a woman, you have the same challenges like I do, but we don't see a lot of women who sit in that space to mentor a whole lot of younger women. How do we recreate this relationship?
Okay, I think women generally, we need to keep pushing to build our social capital, our gravitas, and give people a perception of our charisma, and let them know that because charisma is a combination of competence and warmth, right? A charismatic person draws people to themselves not only because of what they know, but because people perceive them as warm, right? So the more we build our charisma, the more, you know, we're showing that we know stuff, but we're also showing that we're warm enough to draw people to us. There's no point being that woman in the ivory tower, everybody looks up to you, but people cannot feel like they can be real around you, because to actually be an effective mentor, you need to be vulnerable. Right? I mean, it's more powerful for me to tell you that I've made mistakes, you know, and by some way, by some form, by God's grace, by whatever, you know, my mistakes have not killed me, you know, and then you get drawn to me. Like,
let me pause you for a second, because I know that you have to talk about the event. So,
so I wanted to ask you about the time of the event, the venue of the event, and how people watching can join the event.
Okay, so the event starts tomorrow, April 21st at 5 p.m. at Carey Center in Oregon, Lagos. And then on Saturday, we're starting at 9 a.m. and it's going to be a long one on Saturday. It's going to be so full and so rich. And then we'll finish on Sunday. But Friday, Saturday, very, very important and very great meetings going to be happening there. And then free. It's free. Yeah, completely free. And on
Jesus, it's got to be free.
What do you think they will take away from coming to the event?
I think their eyes will open. This is a topic that's been on my heart for over a year. And I think that I've meditated on it, thought on it, and we've carefully selected speakers who will talk about these different lenses that we're going to examine exposure through. I think women coming will have their eyes open. Now, it's going to be a conference that will change you right there and then, but more importantly, it will empower you for change after the conference. It will show you, if you need work, how to do the work. Because, yeah, I believe in a one-time change, a sudden change, but more powerfully, I believe in consistent change.
That's it. There's only that I read, I said exposure through the lens of empathy. You didn't mention that. What's that exactly?
Oh,
that's a snip.
It's a short.
Very good. For those of us that feel called to serve people, you know, that feel like the calling on our lives is to make a difference in people's lives, we need to empathize with the people we are called to serve. We need to have exposure to the pain they feel. That is going to dictate the kind of passion with which we're going to execute on our assignments. But if we just dole out solutions that don't work, just do this, just do that, without feeling the pain, without knowing the work they went through. You know, we just talked about the woman and the, you know, the mixed marriage and all that. While we talked about it, we're going into some of the pains that this kind of situations come with, you know. But sometimes when we're called to maybe even preach, we can be very, very superficial with our solutions. Very preachy, give you a few scriptures and say, go and be well, let it be well with you, without understanding what's happening with that single mother. Why did that girl go into prostitution, right? Why did they fall into that lifestyle? Understand some of the pains there. It will make us more effective.
Is there room for people to join virtually?
Yes, there's room to join. To join, go ahead and register bit.ly/exposure 2023, bit.ly/exposure 2023, all lowercase, and register. You'll get the link to join tomorrow.
Fantastic. Amazing. All done. Congratulations, and we're wishing you the best. on the conference. I hope to have you back again next year. So you do it every year?
Every year.
What edition is this?
This is, oh my.
Can't remember. It's been a while.
Remember, because we took a break during the pandemic.